Hello everybody, my name's Terry and today we're going to talk about conflict and cohesion in small groups. I have some visual aids right here to point out before I begin. This has the 3 key points that we'll be going over, which is what is conflict and cohesion in groups, the components of conflict and cohesion, and effective strategies in conflict and cohesion to promote a successful group. And then over here we have just some pictures of some groups in conflict and some more cohesive groups. All right, let's start our presentation. Have you ever found yourself wishing that you had better conflict and cohesion strategies in like professional settings? Because I know I have. So today we're going to go over the concepts and strategies of conflict and cohesion in groups. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, the next time you find yourself in a group setting, you can recall what we learned today and apply the appropriate strategies to facilitate healthy conflict and cohesion in your team. We're going to begin with a PowerPoint. All right, so what is conflict? Conflict is the disagreement and disharmony that occurs in groups when differences arise regarding goals, ideas, behaviors, roles, or group procedures. We're often taught that conflict should be avoided and that it's always negative in nature, and that successful groups never experience conflict. But the opposite's actually true. Conflict is unavoidable and necessary in most groups. Teams that embrace conflict improve problem solving, promote cohesiveness, increase group knowledge, enhance creativity, and promote the group's common goal. Alright, so let's take a look at what cohesion is. Cohesion is the mutual attraction and teamwork that hold members of a group together. Cohesive groups are unified, loyal to one another, and committed to achieving a common goal. Groups must find ways to balance constructive conflict and productive cohesiveness. Highly effective groups are both cohesive and willing to engage in conflict. Some attributes to a cohesive group are high levels of interaction, a supportive communication climate, a desire to conform to group expectations, and they use creative and productive approaches. And most importantly, those types of groups have satisfied members. So the goal is to turn a group into a cohesive group. So let's talk about the components of conflict and cohesion and some examples of how these scenarios may play out in professional settings. So task conflict is when a group experiences disagreements about issues, ideas, actions, or goals. If this type of conflict is left unresolved and a group fails to acknowledge that multiple ideas can be valid, this can lead to hidden agendas. Hidden agendas can be a serious problem because hidden goals may conflict with the group's overall common goal. An example of this is when team members argue about which tasks should be prioritized and completed first. And then we move on to personal conflict, which is disagreement among group members related to differences in personalities and communication styles and conflicting core values and beliefs. You may see this when team members have vastly different work styles. One may prefer to work independently, while another may be in need of constant collaboration, which would lead to friction when working on a project, for instance. And then another type is procedural conflict. This takes place when a team disagrees about the methods, processes, or policies the group should use. A group may disagree, for example, how to conduct a vote on an idea. Some may prefer a raise of hand, and others may prefer an anonymous ballot. Constructive and deconstructive conflict. Constructive conflict is an approach to disagreement in which group members express differences and ways they value everyone's contributions and promotes the group's goal. Deconstructive conflict is expressed through behaviors that create hostility and prevent the group from achieving its goal. So now we'll talk about task cohesion and social cohesion and collective cohesion. So task cohesion is group unity that results when group members are committed to a common goal. An example of this would be a team collaborating to meet a deadline for a critical presentation, with each member contributing their expertise to achieve the project objectives. Collective cohesion is group unity that results when group members identify with a group and feel a sense of belonging. And now, emotional cohesion and structural cohesion. Emotional cohesion results when group members experience positive emotions while interacting together with other members of the group. Structural cohesion is unity in a group that happens when group members embrace clear norms and well-defined roles. And next we're going to move on to conflict styles, which I did not make a bunch of slides for, but we're going to watch a short, about a 3-minute video that explains each of the different conflict styles so that maybe you can figure out which one you are.
The Chinese say all great battles are won without fighting.
Sorry,
Okay?
I don't know you.
So let's just calm out. Now I'm about to beat the puberty out of you. You ain't gonna see it coming. You ain't gonna see it coming. Come on. Run for your life. So it's time y'all show some respect around here. Huh?
Connor, wait for the master.
Whoa!
How about this? I promise I won't pester you about the DVD. You can defecate in peace. That's a win for both of us. Until this matter is resolved, I would like you to wear this sweater.
Would you be prepared on a non-presidential basis to create an emergency ad hoc for the IC equivalency?
Oh, Leonard, you know I can't do that.
Yeah, I guess we only have one option.
Yep, I don't see any way around it.
Bye, Sheldon. See ya.
Didn't do it.
They're right, it was the only option.
With that, I realized the shadows coming off those 2 lamps were in the wrong spots. I think someone tampered with this crime scene. Forget that. Someone smart, someone experienced. Which is why we need to recreate the scene so that it's exactly the way it was in the costume. Alright, fine.
so that was a look at the different conflict styles that exist, which is important to know because that helps you figure out, how to apply yourself in a group depending on the situation and how other people are handling conflict. So now let's move into some effective strategies to promote a successful group. Well, I'd like to also say about conflict styles that, each of us has an individual conflict style that we tend to default to regardless of the situation. Some people will avoid conflict at all costs, while others enjoy the competitiveness. It is beneficial to know which conflict style you have. By being aware of your own approach, you can adapt your behavior to better handle different conflict situations. So let's move on to, like I said, effective strategies to promote group, which starts off with positive communication and active listening. It's important to use these techniques. For some people, active listening takes practice. It's not always easy to be patient and give somebody your full attention. When we're properly practicing active listening skills, it's a good idea to ask clarifying questions to ensure understanding. Miscommunication happens when we assume we understand what someone is saying, but haven't checked out that assumption. Paraphrasing is a good way to check for clarity and accuracy of understanding and lets the other person know that we've been heard and understood, or that they have been heard and understood. Also, when a group has defined roles, confusion is reduced by making everyone understand their role in the process. We should resolve conflict quickly, otherwise tensions build and performance suffers. Leaders can promote cohesion by emphasizing teamwork, recognizing and rewarding contributions, and respecting individual members' needs. So there's many conflict management tools available, and the one that stood out to me is the 4 R's method, which is a method that helps a group fully understand the group's disagreement. This is a 4-step process for analyzing the nature of the disagreement and selecting an appropriate conflict management strategy. There are 4 questions involved, which are the reasons or the cause of the conflict. Is it a task, a personal or procedural conflict? How are the group members reacting to one another? Which would be the second question, which is reactions. Are they being, constructive or deconstructive toward one another? What are the results? What are the potential consequences of the current approach to the conflict? And then finally, resolution. What are the best available methods for resolving the conflict? Which method will work best for the type of conflict the group is experiencing? And this brings us to our conclusion. Remember to acknowledge disagreements, encourage productive conflict, and identify the root cause. Before we go, I'd just like to point out some of these quotes. And here's one by Winston Churchill. Courage is what it takes to stand up and speak. Courage is also what it takes to sit down and listen. I thought that was a good one that everybody could use. And coming together is a beginning, staying together is a process, is progress, and working together is success. Thank you for your time, and that's